Air pollution in Delhi cannot become a political battle is what the Supreme Court has said today, stressing that the choking air quality is responsible for the murder of people's health. The court said that the burning of crop residue in neighbouring Punjab and Haryana is a key factor behind the massive spike in Delhi's air pollution every winter. The government says that the Cabinet Secretary will convene an important meeting of Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, UP and Delhi governments. They have to attend. Delhi's air quality did improve slightly this morning, moving from severe to very poor. The air quality index in the national capital dropped just below 400. It's still many times what is considered safe or clean air. The court didn't spare the Delhi government. The Delhi government is also responsible. There are many buses running that pollute and run at half capacity. You have to attend to the problem. Despite the dip in pollution, the microscopic PM 2.5 particles, which lodge deep in the lungs and cause health problems, soared to 7 to 8 times the government's safe limit. It's up to 40 times the World Health Organization's safe limit. The Delhi government has decided to reintroduce the odd-even scheme for a week starting the 13th of November, a day after Diwali. But in light of what the Supreme Court has actually said today, is it actually going to take place, or will it really depend on what the Supreme Court has to actually say about all of this? Reena Gupta of the Aam Aadmi Party with me, Professor S.N. Tripathi, Bharti Chaturvedi and Abhishek Karol, environment specialists with us. So Reena, question to you first. Any clarity on whether you will push ahead with odd even, or are you really waiting for where this goes in the Supreme Court?
Vishnu, a couple of things. First of all, I'm glad that the court has validated what we've been saying for a while, that there needs to be a plan with the central government taking leadership and each of the state governments assigned their responsibilities on what they should be doing. This is exactly what the central government said. We've also been saying that the long-term solution for Parali in North India is providing MSP to farmers for other crops besides rice, and that is what the central government has, what the Supreme Court today said. So I'm hoping now that the Supreme Court has given this very concrete directions. There will be a meeting by the central government of all the stakeholders, and there will be a concrete plan for the whole NCR region.
No, but Reena, to my
question,
question,
it is not just Delhi, it is the whole NCR region. Actually, it's the whole of North India, the Indo-Gangetic Plain, 70 crore people who get impacted year after year.
Will odd even happen, or are you waiting for what the Supreme Court says?
So for odd even, we are yet to see the order that the Supreme Court has given. If the Supreme Court has said that it should not be done, I'm not really sure what the order says.
The Supreme Court seems to have suggested that odd even is an optic.
I don't think that's what they've said. They've said that they want to look at studies from the last odd even and then decide on whether odd even should be implemented or not. Odd even is an exercise which is implemented in many cities around the world.
Let me quote the Supreme Court. Schemes like odd even are mere optics.
I'll have to look at the order.
Fair enough.
Delhi government has not taken any decision as of now. We will examine the order and then take a call on order odd even.
Dr. Anil Gupta, board member of the Central Pollution Control Board, also with us. You know, Dr. Gupta, what the court has said today is that toxic air is responsible for, and I quote, the murder of people's health, and that stubble burning in Punjab and Haryana is a key factor. Now, we've heard this all many times in the past from the Supreme Court and others. Nothing's really been done. Can anything be done this time around?
Namaskar to all viewers. I have been talking on this subject for last several months, but I'm sorry the government has not done anything on this. You know, the AQI is sometimes 500, 600, or even last day, it was 999 at Anand Vihar.
Yes.
See, if you check the AQI, there are 8 parameters. These are PM 2.5, PM 10, ozone, NOx, sulfur, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and lead. If you check the reading of all these parameters, you will find the except PM 2.5 or PM 10, all other parameters are within range. Some like ozone is 26, NOx is 52, sulfur is 1. Carbon monoxide is 27 and all that, and lead is free. That shows the major pollution in this winter season is PM 2.5 and PM 10. We need to find out what is the actual source of this PM 2.5.
No, but is that not clear? In the last 2 weeks, it's quite clearly stubble burning.
I'm coming to that point. See, What I'm saying that the major pollution in Delhi is because of PM 2.5 and PM 10. And the reason of the increase in PM 2.5 and 10 is the dust which is there in all over Delhi. This is there prevailing for all over the year, and then the stubble burning. The government claims that they have done something, but when I see the data, day before yesterday, they have 3,230.
There were more than 3,200 fires. Yes, sir, this is all known. My question to you now, sir, is that can anything be done? Or what you're saying we all know. We've known for the last decade, sir.
See, for me, I think now only the God can say.
Right.
Being a science student, I should
Thank
not
you
say
so
anything.
much, sir. Thank you so much for actually saying it more directly than anybody has perhaps before. Only God can save us. Because frankly, I think a lot of residents of not just Delhi.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy to say.
No, nobody is happy about it. But I think you've spoken a truth.
Wind is speed.
You've spoken a truth, sir, and thank you very much, sir, for actually saying it in that way. Bharti Chaturvedi, only God can save us, and yet a lot of us would suggest that that God at this stage is the Supreme Court, which says, we don't know how you will do it, it is your job, something has to be done immediately, the paddy crop has destroyed Punjab's water table, schemes like odd even are mere optics. Delhi cannot continue to work like this. So the court keeps saying all of this. The government is bound to make a change, and yet they haven't.
Yeah, if I may, I think what's really important here is, first of all, the reason we have this stubble is because Punjab was trying to save its water table, and therefore they shifted down the paddy planting, and that's why there's no time to actually manually remove it and take that time. So it has to be burnt. That's one of the reasons. It's not the only one. What I think is important is two things. The first thing is that we've seen this for 9 years. What I believe we should do now, and I don't want to, be a politician and look at the last 9 years and break my head in despair, because I just become dysfunctional. Like many of you, I'm an extreme asthmatic, and I'll just lose it. So what I believe is that we really need to immediately give a lot of protection, including eyeglasses, masks to outdoor workers, whether they're Safai Karamcharis or whether they're mochis or whether they're security guards, it doesn't matter. You have to save lives, and the most vulnerable people are children, the elderly, and outdoor workers. So at this point, this odd even is not quite, it's highly debatable. And you can put it, if it decreases something by 1%, I'm not totally with the Supreme Court in its cynicism about odd and even. I think there is more to it than just some kind of particulate measurement decrease. I think the other thing is, come 1st March, we want 3 things in place. And the 3 things we want in place is emergency procurement in a transparent way of public transport systems, whether they're buses, whether there's something else. We want composting in a decentralized way and procuring it, because it's difficult to sell and it's difficult, capital expenses have to be made. And finally, we have to really ratchet up the capacity of the Delhi Pollution Control Board. But at this point, as an environmentalist, it bothers me that people are losing lives. I don't know if you know, but in Delhi, compared to the Garo Hills, we have 214 point some deaths for every girl per million, and they have 12.1. So air pollution is
12 years less than people who live in areas where there's clean air. There are so many statistics now. The numbers are horrific, absolutely, on the numbers of people dying every year in India because of air pollution. We don't need any more data.
People. Yeah, it's horrific. But Vishnu, the point is that let's save lives in these 2 months. We're not even doing that.
No, we aren't.
Go out, show yourself. Aam Aadmi Party now holds the municipality, so they have a lot more at their control, and I believe they should be saving lives right now. And as far as jhuggies go, even closing down schools sadly is no solution. But I think they can at least save lives through these measures immediately.
Right.
Immediately.
Before I go across to Abhishek Kar,
yeah, I would roll out odd and even.
I just wanted to go back to Reena Gupta for 1 second, Bharti, half a sec. I just wanted to go, Reena, could you as an AAP representative, a spokesperson for your party, assure people on this program that come the next elections, the Aam Aadmi Party will make clean air an election agenda?
Vishnu, I find it a little ironic that you're asking this question because it is only Aam Aadmi Party that talks about air pollution and air quality. It is only the Chief Minister of Delhi that talks about AQI. Have you ever heard Khattar Saab or Yogi ji talk about AQI? Do they even understand what AQI is? So for us, clean air has always been a priority. And it is not just the lungs of Delhi, it is the lungs of people living in Kanpur, people living in Ghaziabad, in Muradabad, in Sonipat, in Panipat. All of our lungs are getting destroyed. If the whole country is in such a bad shape, one would expect that the parliament should discuss this as a priority. Did you see the parliament discuss air pollution even
No, it's a
once in the
disaster
last
as far
9
as
years?
all political parties, Reena, are concerned. I'm asking you, as an Aam Aadmi Party representative, you rule Punjab, you rule Delhi. Will you make this your election agenda mandate next time around? And I ask this, you know why? Because unless this becomes an election issue for you and for others, nothing is going to change. We are all going to suffer as a result of this indefinitely.
Vishnu, it is already an election issue for us, both in Delhi and in Punjab. And let's not continue to demonize the farmers of Punjab. When the farmer burns the field, it is the lungs of the farmers and their family that are the first to be impacted, and then the air actually comes to Delhi. Farmers have been asking, give us MSP for millets and other crops. We have moved a proposal to central government. You know, let us look at what Beijing and China did, Vishnu. Beijing and China, they had a plan in place. Why can't we have a plan for India in place? The plan has to be a regional plan where each state government has to be given a target which is time bound, which is measurable, so that next year we know which government performed and which did not perform. And there is no chance for anybody to pass the buck. Let's give clear, measurable targets to all the state government. Let's tell Haryana what they need to do. Let's tell Punjab, let's tell UP and Delhi.
Haryana has actually remarkably brought down their stubble burning this time around. Be that as it may, Abhishek Kar, I think it's interesting what Reena is saying. What are some of the solutions? Let's talk about it. Is anything realistic?
Okay, Vishnu, the first thing that we need to understand is the moment the winter passes away, there is suddenly a drop in interest in this issue, except the line departments of environment. So ideally, in the peak summer, we should have meetings after meetings after meetings on winter action plan. We need to do all around the year action because the biggest challenge is the dispersed sources. Thousands of farms where crop is going to be born. How within a limited state capacity, how can you actually enforce anything that you are doing? Again, there is this challenge of construction sites. Say there are 10,000 construction sites, and now you're telling them, okay, you should do 5 things, you should register, you should get data. You need to give time to the industry. You need to sit with the industry, and that you cannot do now as an emergency measure. You have to do it around the year so that by the next winter, I'm hopeful if the governments in a coordinated manner, I completely agree with Reena ji, this is an earshot level problem. It has to be solved at the earshot level, which means the governments have to sit together, coordinate across various line departments and share resources to ensure that dispersed sources are have special focus, because those are the most difficult to do. Even if the highest level of political will, it is really difficult to enforce regulations for dispersed sources. And the vehicles, the farms, the construction sites, these are all examples of dispersed sources. The second thing which I want to talk about is that whenever we are talking about the air pollution, I think at this point of time, there is significant amount of efforts by state governments because they are currently under a lot of spotlight. But unfortunately, weather has dealt them a bad hand. But that is not to say that they should not do anything, because we all know that at this point of time, the weather is going to be bad. We know that this time the wind speed slows down. This time the wind starts blowing from northwest. So all the crop residue burning from Punjab and Haryana will move towards Delhi. We know the temperatures slowly over the next few weeks are going to even go lower and lower, and which is going to create a kind of a blanket effect over the cities, over the major pollution hotspots, and the dust will find it difficult to get dispersed. So when we know
But
the
Abhishek, in
stuff
terms of
that is not
solutions,
under control, I
could
think
you
we should
name
really
three?
focus
No, no,
around the issue.
I know what we need to focus on. We all do. I'm asking for solutions. In 3 sentences, can you give me 3 solutions? For example, I would suggest a biomass burning initiative. I would suggest a few other things, but why don't I hear it from you? 1 or 2
Right.
steps.
So one thing, for example, household level cooking is something, that also contributes to air pollution, significantly. Now, one thing we can do is during this winter season, we can have, like you have Diwali sales, you can think of, winter sales of LPG cylinders where LPG is provided at a discounted price so that poor people can use it, and at least for a few months, they get respite from household pollution, and overall the city as a whole kind of benefits from lower. So whatever incremental reduction happens in air pollution, I think we should all take it.
Okay.
The second thing which I can talk about is improved data in terms of emission inventories. We know broadly the major and the minor sources, but in terms of actually formulating a plan, again for the next winter, we need to have much better data than what we have currently.
That's important data, so very critical. Let me just go back to Professor Tripathi. Professor Tripathi, in your mind, all right, let me go back to, in fact, Dr. Anil Gupta. Dr. Gupta, one of the big problems with a scheme like odd even is that while it certainly makes mobility much easier in the city for those who are allowed to drive on that way, there are lots of loopholes. For example, in the past, two-wheelers have been allowed. In a city which depends so heavily on two-wheelers, if you have that mass of two-wheelers still on the roads, are we doing enough to help ourselves?
I think this odd even scheme or restriction of vehicle is not going to help. I have mentioned earlier also, out of 8 parameters, the vehicular pollution is being measured by NOx and sulfur and all this lead. They are under control. They are below 50. The major contribution is PM 2.5 and PM 10. Let me give you 3 solutions and 3 problems.
Sure.
The first is Delhi needs the thorough cleaning. Delhi generates roughly 11,328 tons per day of C&D waste. And as per the Delhi government records, they are able to treat only 8,200 tons. That means roughly 3,100 tons C&D waste daily, which Delhi generates. Delhi is not able to process that. You go anywhere in Delhi, you will find lot of dust, everything, and this season they are converted to PM 2.5 and 10. And we need the whole year planning, not just the winter plan. The second we should stop strictly on the stubble burning. I know central government has given 1,47,000 roughly machines for this crop residue management. They are lying in the godowns of these government departments. Either they are not given to the farmers. You can check the records. So how they are able to be. And third, I am saying it is roughly. And you see, if you see the AQI of Delhi in the summer season, Delhi never has a AQI of 50. If we have a AQI of 50 in the summer season, we can say when the winter comes, it increases to 100 or 150, then we can have roughly 200. So thorough cleaning. And it is not going to happen in this season.
Sure.
You need a 1 year, 2 year planning to clean the whole city and to stop stubble burning, and then all these things will happen. I think one day this odd even everything, this will fail.
Heard it all before, nothing really happens beyond a point. Bharti Chaturvedi, realistically speaking, going forward, what needs to be done? It's not enough for us to say that end stubble burning and it ends. It's already too late for that. A lot of the farm fires have already taken place. And then we'll forget about it next week, right? The news cycle moves on.
Well, first of all, I don't like to villainize farmers, and I'm very uncomfortable with the way the Supreme
It's the way
Court
of agriculture in Punjab and other parts of the country as well.
Right.
It needs a profound change. We can't
right.
survive without our farmers.
Right, but I'm very uncomfortable by the way in which the Supreme Court has on multiple occasions, said we will not tolerate it. Having said that, I'm also sorry that none of us are villainizing SUV users and so on who are actually contributing to air pollution through the year. Having said that, I think we want to do in the immediate effort. I really liked how Abhishek Kar was talking about, getting more gas and clean fuel into juggies, like about 35% of the residents live in slums. So we will actually have much cleaner air because we won't have biomass burning. And it would be great if we invested some of our money. We have a lot of money with the Delhi Pollution Control Board from cesses. I think, 500 crores? I don't know. Reena Gupta would know that better. But nonetheless, we all don't need to have the figures on our hands, but we can divert it there as an air pollution mitigation measure. That's one. And we should do it continuously. I think the second thing we want to do is to immediately in the next, like literally 2 days, look at outdoor workers, just take the money it takes, do a lot of outreach, and have people safe. My mochi is still on the road. People are still on the road. Please do something to reduce the exposures, which is masks, which is eyeglasses. I think construction sites have to be locally monitored, because many of them are not constructing, but everything is lying in the open. So you do have dust still flying, and we have to really press down on this using the public love for basically stabbing each other in the back and complaining. So Germany did that really well. They would use people to rat on their neighbors, to force people who didn't segregate to pay a fine and then learn to segregate through the 90s and the early 2000s. And finally, I would say that at least I hope that we're going to really push people to start using the few buses that we have on the road. We will build up, I hope. But if we don't, whatever we have should not really be running as empty as they currently do.
Reena, final question to you. Is enough being done to monitor old polluting vehicles? It's a major plan, and do you believe that in the immediate run that's going to bring down pollution?
So Vishnu, at least in Delhi, a lot is being done to push out the old polluting vehicles, and I can say with the certainty that most of those vehicles have been confiscated. But what is happening is that a lot of those vehicles are being now registered in and around Delhi. So you will see also, if you see diesel vehicles, registration of diesel vehicles in Delhi is more expensive. So you will see a lot of diesel vehicles are registered in Gurgaon and in Noida. So that is why I continue to say, Vishnu, that as a country, we need to wake up to this air emergency. It is a problem facing a huge part of our population. We need to agree that our thermal power plants need to be less polluting. We need to agree that we will not have any more thermal power plants. We need to agree that we will phase out all BS3, BS4 vehicles. We will phase out all polluting buses, all polluting trucks. Even now, Haryana and UP continue to send polluting buses to Delhi. So unless as a country we decide that it is a priority for us, that we are ruining the lungs of our children, the lungs of our old people, I'm very sorry to say I don't see much difference happening. And as a country, as central government needs to take a lot of these initiatives. We wrote a letter to the Central Environment Minister in July. Till today, not a single meeting of the NCR states has been conducted. And today they are now saying that why is Aam Aadmi Party politicizing this issue? It is a very political issue. Our lungs are being ruined. So it is a very political issue. 70 crore people live in Indo-Gangetic Plain. For all of these people, our future is in danger unless we come together and we forget our political differences and make a plan, a concrete plan.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, let's just finally see what happens. Sadly, it's being another year when we keep raising the issue over and over, and then at the end of the day, nothing really gets done. And, our lives are being spent like this, and none of us deserve that. I'd like to thank you all very much once again. It is an effort that we will continue to raise in NDTV to highlight this air emergency, the apocalypse that actually exists all around us, and the consequences for healthcare. We're out of time for the moment. Goodbye.